Good night. As you join me, my topic tonight is the Book of Job, an end time book. I know many of you would have read go through the Book of Job or go through the study, and indeed it has been a blessing. Indeed, in it there are many answers to many questions that we have in the book of in life's problems in the book of Job. And I can say that one of the reasons that I've gone through the book of Job last week, the whole of last week, one of the motives behind doing it is that one of our very own soldier, a general in Christ, passed away a few weeks ago. And I know that man was a righteous man. By their fruits ye shall know them, and his fruits showed that he was so. And I was wondering, God, why did he have to die via heart attack? But as I read the book of Job, searching for answers, but I got many, and I'm deciding to share it with you tonight. Whatever revelation, whatever truth that God was able to reveal to me, I am revealing to you. So I pray that you tune in, I pray that you be blessed, I pray that you share this video so that others too can be blessed. Don't take a word for your own selves, but share. Right, so the topic is the book of Job, an end time book. So let's jump right into it. While I'm reading, I'm going to make some comments. So stay tuned. Alright, we're looking at Job chapter 1 from verse 1. Right, when we look at the book of Job chapter 1 verse 1, it actually says, there was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job. Right? And that man was perfect and upright, and one that feared God and eschewed evil. Right? Now some references pertaining to that text to be able to expound on that text. I was able to get these few verses. We're looking at James chapter 5, 10 and 11. It says, "Take my brethren the prophets, who have spoken in the name of the Lord, for an example of suffering, affliction, and of patience. Behold, we count them happy, which endure. Ye have heard of the patience of Job, and have seen the end of the Lord, that the Lord is very pitiful, and of tender mercy." Right? So this text expounds on the patience of Job, his experience that he have gone through. Right? We're looking at Ezekiel chapter 14, 12 to 14. It says, "The word of the Lord came again to me, saying, Son of man, when the land sinned against me by trespassing grievously, then will I stretch out my hand upon it, and will break the staff of the bread thereof, and will send famine upon it, and will cut off man and beast from it." Notice what God is saying here. He says, "Son of man, when the land sinned against me by trespassing grievously, then will I stretch out my hand upon it, and will break the staff of the bread thereof, and will send famine upon it, and will cut off man and beast from it. Verse 14 says, though these three men, Noah, Daniel, and Job, were in it, they should deliver but their own souls by their righteousness, said the Lord God. Right? So we've seen all around us today that there is sin, there is corruption, there is evil taking place in this country and worldwide. But God is saying, many times we say God is a Trinity, or God, due to the few righteous folks in that country, are sending up supplications before God. God hears their prayers and spare the land. Now that in itself may be true and false. But this text is saying, though these three men, Noah, Daniel, and Job, were in it, they should deliver but their own souls. So while yes, some righteous folks may be in a land and they pray for God to turn the captivity turn the strife and bloodshed and evil and anything that may, any judgment that may come upon the land. Notice there is coming a time that though these three men, Noah, Daniel, Job, Sergio, were in it, they should deliver but their own souls. I cannot plead for someone else when calamity strikes. You understand? No one else could plead for me. So Job, Daniel, and Noah deliver their own souls. We have to come to that time, and it's coming to that time at the moment. Let's look at Genesis 17:1. It says, and when Abraham was 90 years old and 9, the Lord appeared to Abraham and said unto him, I am the Almighty God, walk before me and be thou perfect. Right? Remember we are looking at the references for the first of Job chapter 1. God called him upright. God called him perfect. He said, this is a man that execute evil. Execute means to depart, or rather to depart from evil, or go in the opposite direction of evil. Right? So God is saying to Abraham here in Genesis 7:1, when Abraham, before he changed his name from Abraham to Abraham, when Abraham was 90 years old and 9, the Lord appeared to Abraham and said unto him, I am the Almighty God, walk before me and be thou perfect. If God is telling Abraham, walk before me and be thou perfect, but he said about Job, Job was a perfect man, it shows that his faith was made perfect by his obedience. Right? And Abraham's faith was being tested, and when he offered up his son Isaac, his faith was made perfect. Right? If you follow the story in Genesis 22, you will see that God said, I know that Abraham fear me now. Right? When you look at Proverbs 16:6, it says, by mercy and truth iniquity is purged, and by the fear of the Lord men depart from evil. Right? There's a text in Job and other Bible verses that says, other chapters that says, but the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and to depart from evil is understanding. So if the Bible is saying here in Job 1:1, it says, there was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job, and that man was perfect and upright, one that feared God and eschewed evil. So if there's a text that says, right, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, Job had feared God, so therefore he was wise. And to depart from evil is understanding. It says he eschewed evil, meaning that he departed from it. He didn't walk in the way of evil. So therefore Job was wise and he had understanding. There was a reason why God said he's perfectly upright, in his sight. Verse 2, and there were born unto him 7 sons and 3 daughters. Right? The question is, who blessed him with these children? That's the question. And there were born unto him 7 sons and 3 daughters. Now many say that when I get married, yes indeed, God bless marriage. Yes indeed, it's a sacred union. It's one of the twin institutions he set up in the Garden of Eden. But notice, and there were born unto him 7 sons and 3 daughters. The question is, in Proverbs 3:5-7, it says, trust in the Lord with all thy heart and lean not unto thy own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him and he will direct thy path. Many believe that even if they are married, that surely God called them to make children. And you may be saying, what Serge is saying, this is absurd. Brethren, making children is our calling. And we have to seek God and ask him if it is wise that we should have children. There are many reasons for that. Many reasons. Some people idolize their children. They idolize their children so much so that they put them above God. You understand? It's all about this child. Am I against children? No, I love children. But people take these things to the extreme. You understand? Nobody waits a while and say, okay, when I get married, I'll develop myself, settle in, I'll get to know my spouse. And if God is leading in that direction, maybe I'll make a child. Maybe I'll go forward if he's leading. So, brethren, you think that I am married for 4 years, going on 5, and I have no children because I just don't want to. Now, there are many other reasons why. But I have to seek God and ask if it's his will. While children could be a blessing, they could be a curse. They can keep you back. If God called you to do missionary work, you can still have a child. Nobody's saying no. But if you allow that child to keep you back from that, brethren, woe unto you. Woe unto you, because that is a serious thing. It is a serious thing to put anything before God. And we have to seek God and acknowledge him and see what he wants for us. Now, this has been on my mind for a while. I've been thinking about it, and I said to myself, many times we look at persons who got pregnant outside of marriage, in wedlock. And sometimes we condemn them, we despise them, we say, oh, look at she. Right? Look at her. She got married outside of marriage. Sometimes we despise. But it's coming a time, and now it is, that it's becoming a norm. Someone making children outside of marriage. The secret union that God has blessed and said, you shall have sex. That's one of the blessings of marriage. People is doing that all willy-nilly. Now let me put a balance on this. the child that comes from the event of having sex, maybe outside of marriage, it is not, it is just a consequence of what took place. But if you look at the root of the cause, the root of the cause is fornication, is sex outside of marriage. We can't blame the child, it's not the child's fault. The child is a blessing. You understand? So we don't blame the child in any way, but we blame ourselves for what we have done in the sight of God and repent from that. But it's not that child's fault. You or I could have experienced that. You understand? I wasn't always someone that feared God. I wasn't always someone that departed from evil by the help and strength of God. No. I had sex outside of marriage, countless, until I was convicted, until the truth, and the truth shall set you free. It will make you free indeed. So, brethren, the issue is fornication. And let people get to the root cause, sex outside of marriage, that is the main focus, not the child. Don't look down at the child. Accept the child. Love the child. Do what you can to be a good influence and example to that child. But we try our best to do what's right in the sight of God. So the question is, who blessed Job with those 10 children, 7 sons and 3 daughters? Right? It was God. It was God that blessed him. Verse 3 says, his substance also was 7,000 sheep and 3,000 camels and 500 yoke of oxen and 500 she asses and a very great household, so that this man was the greatest of all the men of the east. So who gave Job riches, brethren? Who gave him riches? Right? That's a question. Many times we run ahead and we do what we want in order to seek after riches, things of the world. But who gave Job riches? It was God that gave him riches, because he feared God. God blessed him. Right? He says, verse 5, and his sons went and feasted in their houses, every one his day, and sent and called for their 3 sisters to eat and to drink with them. And it was so, when the days of their feasting were gone about, that Job sent and sanctified them, and rose up early in the morning, and offered burnt offerings according to the number of them all. But Job said, it may be that my sons have sinned and cursed God in their hearts. Thus did Job continually. Brethren, we pray for God's protection for us and our children. But hardly people pray for the sanctification of their children. Job said, it may be that my sons have sinned and cursed God in their hearts. Thus did Job continually. So what did he do? Just in case, peradventure that it did. It's not a definite fact that they have sinned. Nothing is wrong with feasting. Right? Eating and drinking. Going to the excess, going to the extreme, being intemperate is the issue. But nothing is wrong with eating and drinking. Right? So that Job sent and sanctified them, and rose up early in the morning and offered burnt offerings according to the number of them all. For Job said, it may be that my sons have sinned and cursed God in their hearts. He's just saying it may be, but just in case. case if they did, this is what Job did. He went and sanctified them. He called them. He pleaded with God to forgive them in case. So we pray for God's protection for us and for our kids. That is what we pray for most times before our children. If we do pray before our children leave the home. But hardly people pray for the sanctification, which is to make God to make our children pure and holy. You understand? To keep them from evil. To depart from evil. Right? And to be separate from the world. Even after we pray and death comes to our family. There's a reason why I share this, because in the experience of Job, this happened. Right? So it says, and to be separate from the world even after we pray and death comes to our family, know that your prayers wasn't in vain. You may not know how far your supplications can go, especially if your parents are godly people. Right? So when we look at Job 42:8, it says, therefore take unto you now 7 bullocks and 7 rams, and go to my servant Job, and offer up for yourselves a burnt offering, and my servant Job shall pray for you, for him will I accept, lest I deal with you after your folly, in that ye have not spoken of me the thing which is right, like my servant Job. We're going to expound on that at the ending, right? But this offering of sacrifice, we know it pointed to Christ. It's the Jewish economy, the sacrificial system, the sanctuary message. This was set up, that was the type to the main antitype, which was Christ, the main sacrifice, the true propitiation for our sins, right? But understand this, that Job here is a priest of his own home, and he offers sacrifice for his children. Now that is symbolic to our day, to morning and evening worship. We don't offer up no sacrifice anymore in terms of killing animals, but we offer up our sacrifice, our petitions, our prayers to God, morning or evening, asking God, pleading with God to protect us, to keep our family safe, to keep us from the evil one, to walk in righteousness. This is what Job did morning and evening, for his children, for himself, for his family. This is what we need even more these days, brethren. Husbands, priests of their home, who could call their family, assemble them together and pray to see God. That is what God is calling men and women back this day. Verse 6, now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them. Right? Verse 7 says, and the Lord said unto Satan, whence comest thou? Whence comest thou? Then Satan answered the Lord and said, from going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. To and fro is mentioned in this text. Let's review it again. It says, and the Lord said, let's go from verse 6. Now there was a day when the sons of God, which is godly men, if you look at Genesis 6, and the sons of God saw the daughters of men. Right? Sons of God, meaning godly men. Daughters of men, meaning ungodly, wicked men. Right? So the sons of God saw the daughters of men and took them as wives. They were fair, they were good looking, and they took them as wives. So that's just the unequal yoke marriages. Right? And righteous coming together and marrying the wicked. That's basically what it is. Right? So if the Lord says, now there was a day when the sons of God, meaning godly men, came to present themselves before God in prayer, and Satan came also among them. Satan is always in the midst. Whether 2 or 3 are gathered, he's there. His evil angels are there to taunt, to cause havoc, to do what he knows best to do, which is wickedness. He's always there. Right? So in the midst of the righteous coming to pray towards God, to God, Satan presented himself. And the Lord said unto Satan, Whence comest thou? Then Satan answered the Lord and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. So notice these key verses, going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. So we see to and fro. Where else in the Bible these words are mentioned? Let's look at Daniel chapter 12 verse 4. It says, But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. So here we see the words to and fro again. Right? Satan said he was walking up and down to and fro on the earth, right? So what does this really mean? Let's look at Amos 8:12 now. It says, And they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of the Lord, and shall not find it. Right? So Amos is talking about a famine in the land coming down to the end of the day. That those who refuse to seek God daily, spend time in His word, walk to and fro in His word, it will be like a famine to them, because they will not find it. They will search from sea and land, east to west, and they will not find it. It is too late, forever too late. But the context is that going to and fro, studying the scriptures, studying to show yourself approved, as Isaiah says. He says, How shall we study? Line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little, and there a little. So exactly how I am expounding the word to you right now, that's exactly how we are to study. So when you read the Bible and you study chapter or verse, and you may not understand, you want some clarity. If you have a study Bible, a reference Bible, there will be some references that take you to other verses of other books in the Bible, and it will show you how to study. What is the meaning of that word or that text, the context of that text that you just read. So the Bible, therefore, is its own interpreter. So that to and fro, Satan says, to and fro, walking up and down in the earth. Right? So that to and fro is studying the scriptures. So if Satan's saying here, this is what he's saying. Then Satan answered the Lord and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. The question is the devil searching God's scriptures to and fro in order to become holy and righteous? The devil will be the devil. There is nothing holy, nothing righteous, nothing about him. And he's not going to change. He has been cast out of heaven, because he tried to exalt himself, and sin dwelled in him. He was cast out. So that to and fro, that the book of Job is really saying, that to and fro, just like the to and fro studying the scriptures, to and fro he's studying human beings and studying their lifestyle and trying to gain a foothold, brethren, a foothold, an entrance in our lives. He's studying our weak points. Our weak points, brethren, he's studying them. And he tempts in that direction. He lures men to sin. And this is what happens. So he's studying Men's character. 6,000 plus years of studying people's character. No, he's not searching the Bible. But does he know the Bible? Does he know prophecy? Yes, he does. He knows the Bible and prophecy even much more than we do. Right? That's why we had to study to show ourselves approved. And this is why I'm saying that he knows. He even knows prophecy. This is why I'm saying that. Right? So he seeks to distract and divert us from what is happening and what is to come. Revelation 12:12 says, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he had but a short time." How does he know that he has a short time? Without studying the scriptures and knowing prophecy, and knowing that his time is short, and knowing that his head is going to be crushed from Christ, by Christ, very soon in the near future. How does he know that? Because he studies the scriptures, he studies the prophecy. He knows, brethren, but more so, his focus is to tempt and divert and to keep us asleep so that the coming of God will appear as a thief in the night to those who is not looking for him. It will catch many by surprise. Listen to what 1 Peter 5:8 says. "Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour." Notice these words, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about. Notice similar words to Job, walking to and fro. Walked about seeking whom he may devour. This is his focus, to devour mankind, brethren. There's nothing good in him. He is seeking to destroy as many as himself. He is seeking to take with him to hell when his time comes, as many as he can. That's why we are to be sober. That's why we are to be vigilant. For our adversary, the devil, walketh about like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. Let's look at verse 8 of Job chapter 1. It says, "And the Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth?" God didn't say there was none like him in us. He said there is none like him on the earth, brethren. And the Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and an upright man, one that feared God and eschewed evil? So we see come up again. Same words in verse 1. This text is proof Satan wasn't reading his Bible, but rather provoking and tempting men. For him, he said he walked up and down, walking to and fro. And then God asked him, Have you considered my servant Job? So that's the follow-up to it. Right? So this text is proof that Satan wasn't reading his Bible, but rather provoking and tempting men, studying us to see if he can get a foothold in our lives. That's what he's doing today. Does he have an entrance in your lives, in my life? Could God say, have he considered Sergio? Have he considered Rennie? Have he considered Harry? Have he considered Susan? Have he considered my servant? Could God say that to Satan when it comes to us, brethren? Verse 9 says, seeking to take with him to hell when his time comes, as many as he can. That's why we are to be sober. That's why we are to be vigilant. For our adversary, the devil, walketh about like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. Let's look at verse 8 of Job chapter 1. It says, And the Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth? God didn't say there was none like him in Uzziah. He said there is none like him on the earth, brethren. And the Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and an upright man, one that feared God and eschewed evil? So we see it come up again. Same words in verse 1. This text is proof Satan wasn't reading his Bible, but rather provoking and tempting men. For him, he said he walked up and down, walking to and fro. And then God asked him, Have you considered my servant Job? So that's the follow-up to it. Right? So this text is proof that Satan wasn't reading his Bible, but rather provoking and tempting men, studying us to see if he can get a foothold in our lives. That's what he's doing today. Does he have an entrance in your lives, in my life? Could God say, Have he considered Sergio? Have he considered Rennie? Have he considered Harry? Have he considered Susan? Have he considered my servant? Could God say that to Satan when it comes to us, brethren? Verse 9 says, Then Satan answered the Lord and said, Doth Job fear? Do Job fear God for naught? Does he fear you for naught? That's what Satan is telling God. So in other words, he's saying there's a reason why Job fear you. So let me see if these insinuations and these assumptions are true. Let's read even further. So Satan came with insinuations thinking that Job feared God because God blessed him with many riches. Which is why he say, Does Job fear you for naught? But was this true? Let's look at it. Verse 10 says, Has not thou made an hedge about him, and about his house, and about all that he had on every side? Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land. Right? So verse 10 says, Has not thou made an hedge? So God made a hedge around Job, about him and about his house. So he covered Job and he covered his whole household, and about all that he had on every side. So all his possessions, his sustenance, his everything, God placed a hedge around him. Is he placing that hedge around us today? Are we living and trying by God's grace to live a life pleasing in his sight, just as Job was? Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land. It says, is a fact. This is how he comes. This is how Satan comes. But could this be said about us now? We are all being tested now, and it will continue until Jesus comes back. Does God has a hedge around us? Are we like Job? Some as well to take note. Something to take note of. Think about the reverse. You see, God places a hedge around Job because he is covered with Christ's righteousness. So when the Bible said that Job was righteous, it's not that Job himself was righteous. We know there is none righteous. That's what the other book says. There is none righteous, no, not one. There is none that good. There is none that do right in and of himself. So that righteousness, that purity, that perfection in Job didn't come from himself. It came through Christ. Christ is our righteousness. So no man could boast and say, I am righteous, I am pure, I am perfect, I do all these things because I am good and I could do good. No, we are prone to wonder. We are prone to leave the one we love. Brethren, there's a war between the carnal and the spiritual man, and there's a constant battle. The things you desire to do, you do it not. Because there's a constant war, brethren. The battle is for the mind. Right? So as we look, think about the reverse. You see, God places a hedge around Job because he is covered with Christ's righteousness. God redeemed the world through the blood of his Son. Right? The world is reconciled back to him. But not many have accepted the gift of salvation that he offers through his Son. Not many. Right? So question, what about the multitudes of people in the world who doesn't fear God? Does God have a hedge around them? That's the question. So when we see calamities, this gives light to the many things that are happening around the world. If light has come and men choose darkness rather than light, who then is in control of them? That's why Romans 6:16 says, therefore to whom ye yield yourselves servants to obey, his servants ye are to whom ye obey, whether to sin unto death or obedience unto righteousness. Those, Romans also said, those who decide not to bother about the law will perish without the law. Those who live by the law will be justified. They will be justified by the deeds of the law. Whatever they do, they will be judged by them. But those who say there is no law, and whatever no law, the Ten Commandments, okay, you're going to perish without it. So light has come to this world, and men have chosen darkness rather than light. Who then is in control of them? If you refuse light, you refuse Christ, you refuse God, you are inevitably being controlled by default by Satan. And you're doing his will, you're doing his bidding. They are vulnerable. These people are vulnerable who refuses to choose God. Not only can they be used by Satan, but Satan doesn't care about them. He doesn't care about no one. He can also destroy them if he chooses. So while they are doing, he can use them to do their bidding. If he get a chance, he also will wipe them out. Right? He acts as a benefactor and a destroyer. So verse 11 says, but put forth thine hand now, and touch all that he had, and he will curse thee to thy face. So Satan telling God that. Does Job fear you for naught? So he's trying to say that Job feared God because God gave him all these blessings and all these possessions. Right? So he pressed God even further. But put forth thine hand now and touch all that he had, and he will curse thee to thy face. This is proof for us to see now if what Satan said about Job is true. Let's review verse 20 and 22, which shows if he feared God still after what happened. So does Job fear God just because God blessed him? Let's see. So let's see if Satan's insinuation or assumptions is true. Remember, he's a liar, right? He's an accuser of the brethren. So it says here, then Job arose and rent his mantle, verse 22 to verses 20 to 22. That's same Job chapter 1, the ending of it. It says, then Job arose and rent his mantle and shaved his head and fell down. We will get to why he did that, right? But some things took place. Then Job arose and rent his mantle and shaved his head and fell down upon the ground and worshipped. Right? And said, naked came I out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return thither. The Lord give, and the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. In all this Job sinned not, nor charged God foolishly. But note his children. Note this. His children, his substance, his possessions was taken. Have you considered why not his wife also? His wife was part of his family, right? We see why, right? We'll get to that. Right, so I show you a fast forward of verse chapter 1 at the ending to prove a point that Job feared God not because he feared God because God is good. God is worthy to be praised. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. God has blessed Job. Job was basically, I believe, overwhelmed with God's gifts and blessings, and just falling in love with the love of God. That this is all he could have done, despite certain things happened to him. He could have feared God. He could have feared God still. Verse 12 says, and the Lord said unto Satan, behold, all that he had is in thy power. Only upon himself, so God is giving Satan permission here. He says, and the Lord said unto Job, behold, all that he had is in thy power. Only upon himself put not forth thine hand. Right? So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord. So he is ready and waiting to destroy. That is what he does. He's ready and waiting. Here we see God gives permission up to a point. But why does God do it? He does it for development of our character. Revelation 3:18 says, I counsel thee to buy of me gold tried in the fire, that thou mayest be rich, and white raiment, that thou mayest be clothed, and that the shame of thy nakedness do not appear, and anoint thine eyes with eye salve, that thou mayest see. Right? 1 Peter 1:7 says, remember it says in Revelation 3:18, I will say here, I counsel thee to buy of me gold tried in the fire. What is this gold tried in the fire? 1 Peter 1:7 says that the trial of your faith, being much more precious than gold that perisheth, though it be tried with fire, might be found unto praise and honor and glory at the appearing of Jesus Christ. Right, so that's character development and in trials. 1 Peter 4:12 and 13 says, beloved, think it not strange concerning the fiery trial which is to try you, as though some strange thing happened unto you. But rejoice, inasmuch as ye are partakers of Christ's sufferings, that when his glory shall be revealed, ye may be glad also with exceeding joy. And also, 1 Corinthians 10:13 says, and notice these words in these verses. These words, pay attention to key words here. 1 Corinthians 10:13 says, there had no temptation taken you but such as is common to man. But God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape that he may be able to bear it. So notice here that God doesn't, when you go through a trial, which is to develop character, God doesn't take away the trial. Don't ask God to take it away, brethren. Don't. Because it is for our own good. He says they had no temptation taking you but such as is common to man. But God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able, but will with the temptation. He doesn't say he takes it away. He doesn't suffer us to be tempted more than we are able, but will with the temptation. He keeps the temptation. He allows us to continue going through it. Also make a way to escape, to be able to bear it, brethren, to be able to go through it. Trust in God, right? Trust in His word, His counsels that He give, so that we can go through these trials. But we are given counsel that we are not going to go through these trials, because He will never leave us nor forsake us to go through it alone. He will also make a way of escape that He may be able to bear it. Right? Let's go on. It says, so God knows we are able to bear it. In the end, He wants us to glorify Him and not put Him to open shame. Verse 13 says, and there was a day when His sons and His daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. Verse 14, and there came a messenger unto Job and said, right? So this is the calamity that Job went through. This is what he heard. So Satan came, God gave him permission to do these things. Right? He could only get permission. If God places a hedge around a man, He covers a man, Satan have no entrance. None. But God permitted Satan to strike him, strike home, for His glory, to prove to Satan. Let's see if what you're saying, your insinuations, are true about my Job. Verse 14 says, and there came a messenger unto Job and said, the oxen were plowing and the asses feeding beside them. Verse 15, and the Sabeans fell upon them and took them away. Right? Yea, they have slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. So Job's oxen, his possessions, right, and his servants was taken. That's part 1. Verse 16, while he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, the fire of God is fallen from heaven, and had burnt up the sheep and the servants, and consumed them, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. Right? So the oxen, the sheep, the servants gone. Notice it said fire of God. Let's go back. The fire of God is fallen from heaven, and had burnt up the sheep and the servants, and consumed them, and I only am escaped to tell thee. So the fire from God, was it fire from God? Wasn't Satan the one came to provoke, to tempt, to destroy Job's possessions, his sustenance, his things that he had, his family? So the fire didn't come from God, but it came from Satan. But really, who is behind it? Revelation 13 and 14 says, and he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceived them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they shall make an image to the beast. So when we look at Revelation 13, it's an end time chapter. When you look at Revelation 13:11, it talks about the second beast coming up out of the earth, and that's America in prophecy. Right? America in prophecy. Right? So that's what it's saying. He calls it fire. So our country in and of itself can cause fire, right? So we are looking at these so-called church people, these evangelicals, working miracles, brethren, working miracles, and deceiving people by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast. So is Satan working miracles through his servants in the form of spiritualism, brethren? Right? So Satan is causing these things, brethren, which had the wound by a sword and did live. How does this beast do this? Through spiritualism. He works miracles in order to deceive many. All these fires that are happening around the world, mainly America, who do you think is causing them? It's Satan. And soon, the evangelical is going to say it is God, sending these judgments because we are violating the Sunday Sabbath. That's his plot. They're going to say we are violating the Sunday Sabbath, but is Sunday the true Sabbath? No. It's pagan. It's sun worship. God's true 7-day Sabbath is Saturday, brethren, and it will never be changed. Never. His law is immutable, it's unchangeable. Right? So verse 17 says, while he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, the Chaldeans made out 3 bands and fell upon the camels and have carried them away. Yea, and slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped to tell thee. Right? Verse 18, while he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, thy sons and thy daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And behold, there came a great wind from the wilderness, and smote the 4 corners of the earth, of the house, rather, and it fell upon the young men, and they are dead. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee. Right? So all these things and calamities and stuff that happened to Job and his family, and all that he had, this is what Job did. This is exactly what Job did. It says here, just trying to look for it here. Then Job arose and rent his mantle and shaved his head and fell down upon the ground and worshipped, and said, naked came I out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return thither. The Lord gave and the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. This is what the man say. His children, 10 children, everything gone. In all this Job sinned not, nor charged God foolishly. Right? So let's fast forward. Alright, let's look at Job chapter 2 now. Again, there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them to present himself before the Lord. So this happened again. So after he caused all that to happen, he came again. And the Lord said unto Satan, from whence comest thou? And Satan answered the Lord and said, From going to and fro, same thing, to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. The Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job? So all through what Satan did, Job didn't sin. So now we come back again. The Lord asked him, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth? A perfect and an upright man, one that feared God and eschewed evil. And still he holdeth fast his integrity, although thou moved me against him, to destroy him without cause. And Satan answered the Lord and said, Skin for skin, yea, all that a man had will he give for his life. But put forth thine hand now and touch his bone and his flesh, and he will curse thee to thy face. Right? And the Lord said unto Satan, Behold, he is in thine hand, but save his life. So God here gives him permission again, this time to touch his flesh. So went Satan forth from the presence of the Lord and smote Job with sore boils from the sole of his foot unto his crown. Consider these while Satan is the father of sickness and disease and death. What about people who wasn't afflicted by Satan, but actually afflicted themselves? Disease and death, when in faith, right? When in faith the human agent does all he can to combat disease using the simple methods of treatment that God has provided, his efforts will be blessed of God, right? Those who bring disease upon themselves by self-gratification have not healthy bodies and minds. They cannot weigh the evidences of truth and comprehend the requirements of God. Our Savior will not reach his arm low enough to raise such from their degraded state, while they persist in pursuing a course to sink themselves still lower. Many persons bring disease upon themselves by their self-indulgence. They have not lived in accordance with natural law or the principles of strict purity. Others have disregarded the laws of health in their habits of eating and drinking, dressing, or working. The tables of many professed Christian women are daily set with a variety of dishes, which irritate the stomach and produce a feverish condition of the system. Flesh meats constitute the principal article of food upon the tables of some families, until their blood is filled with cancerous and scrofulous humors. Their bodies are composed of what they eat, but when suffering and disease come upon them, it is considered an affliction of providence. Right? So who smote Job with sickness, with boils? Satan. Satan. Right? Now we're going to see a situation that many consider. You see, Job's experience. Job is an end time book. You will actually see when things happen to people, how humans, we ourselves respond to it. Right? Give me 1 second. So what I like about this experience, the situation in the book of Job, is that Job doesn't know that God and Satan had a conversation. No one else knows that God and Satan had a conversation. So we can't see what's happening in the spiritual realm, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, right? We can't see what's happening behind closed doors, behind the curtain. We can't. So what I like about it is Job doesn't know that this conversation took place with God and Satan. No one else knows. So when something happens to us, brethren, whether it's sickness, whether it's disease, whether it's death. Now, as I just read, Job was inflicted with boils, with sores, right? It's Satan, the author of disease, sickness, and death, inflicted Job. He afflicted him with disease, right? God gave him permission. This far, no further. What about, as I mentioned, what about those God didn't give permission to Satan to inflict, but they caused it themselves? That's another side. That's another story all by itself. We could get ourselves sick by, disobeying the laws of health, right? We can get ourselves sick by disobeying the laws of health. So while sometimes things that happen to some people could very well be for God's doing, there are other times that people get themselves sick. We can get ourselves sick by breaking the laws of health intentionally, right? So it says, verse 8 of chapter 2, and he took him a potsherd to scrape himself withal. So he wanted to scrape his sores, and he sat down among the ashes. So remember I asked the question, why through the calamity Job's wife wasn't also taken, wasn't also destroyed? So verse 9 now it says, then said his wife, so through this calamity, through him receiving these sores on his body, he says, then said his wife unto him, do thou still return thine integrity? Curse God and die. So through all this calamity, the wife telling him to do. This is what Job said to his wife. And this is what, respectfully, I say this, respectfully and lovingly, we ought to say to our spouses. When foolishness, folly, comes out of their mouth, it says, but he said unto her, thou speakest as one of the foolish women speaking. What? Shall we receive good at the hand of God, and shall we not receive evil? In all this did not Job sin with his lips. Now when Job's 3 friends heard of all this evil that was come upon him, they came every one from his own place. Eliphaz the Temanite, and Bildad the Shushite, and Zophar the Naamathite, for they had made an appointment together to come to mourn with him and to comfort him. So this is what they come to mourn with him and to comfort him. And when they lifted up their eyes afar off, and knew him not, they lifted up their voice and wept, and they rent every one his mantle, and sprinkled dust upon their heads towards heaven. So they sat down with him upon the ground 7 days and 7 nights, and none spake a word unto him, for they saw that his grief was very great. So they did right up to this point. They did right to come to comfort him, come to mourn with him. So nobody, they sat down 7 days, nobody said a thing. Nobody say a thing. And then this happened. So let's review some verses of the sentiments of Job's three friends. Now we have to understand that through this calamity, Job didn't even have his wife to comfort. He didn't even have his wife to give him encouragement. Nothing. He don't have nobody. Right? So he decided to trust in his own wisdom, his own strength. If you read verse from chapter 3, verse 1, and what you will actually see that Job, what he had suicidal thoughts. He was thinking suicide. Cursed the day that he was born, and all these things he was thinking. Right? So one of his friends, after a chapter passed and Job expressed what is in his heart. Right? Chapter 4, it says, Then Eliphaz the Temanite answered and said, If we assay to commune with thee, wilt thou be grieved? But who can withhold himself from speaking? Behold, thou hast instructed many, and thou hast strengthened the weak hands. Well, this is true, right? Thy words have upholden him that was fallen. Right? And thou hast strengthened the feeble knees, but now it is come upon thee. So all the time you are seeing what other people are helping those who are sick and in need. But this is the way he friend tell them, but now it is come upon thee, and thou faintest. It toucheth thee, and thou art troubled. Is not this thy fear, thy confidence? Now all that is good in of itself, what he said. But then comes these verses. Is not this thy fear, thy confidence, thy hope, and the uprightness of thy ways? Remember, I pray thee, whoever perished, being innocent, or where were the righteous cut off? Even as I have seen, they that plow iniquity sow wickedness, reap the same. So now, this person is saying now, even as I have seen, they that plow iniquity. So he is insinuating that Job, right, plowed iniquity and he sowed wickedness, so he reaped the same. Then he goes on to say, by the blast of God they perish, and by the breath of his nostrils are they consumed. So this is what Job's friend said to him. Let's look at Job chapter 8 now. This is the other friend saying this to him. Then answered Bildad the Shushite and said, How long wilt thou speak these things? Right, so you see, after chapter 1 and 2, Job then opens his mouth in chapter 3, and then chapter 4 is what I now read. Some of the sentiments of Job's friend. Right? Now we skip a few chapters now of Job speaking from chapter 5 to 7. Then his other friend jump in now and say this to him. Then answered Bildad the Shushite and said, How long wilt thou speak these things, and how long shall the words of thy mouth be like a strong wind? Doth God pervert judgment, or doth the Almighty pervert justice? If thy children, this is what the friend is insinuating here, if thy children have sinned against him, did any verses mention that his children sinned? That is why the calamity came and they were destroyed? No. So his friend is saying, if thy children have sinned against him, and he have cast them away for their transgression, if thou would seek unto God betimes, before the morning period, petitioning God in prayer, giving supplication, morning and evening worship, right, and make thy supplication to the Almighty, if thou, so they telling Job that, when Job, as you see in chapter 1, Job did that continually. He offered morning and evening sacrifice for his children, if peradventure that they have sinned, right? But brethren, this was the lifestyle of Job. an upright and a perfect man. If thou wert pure and upright, this is what the friend telling him now, no? Surely now he would awake for thee. Right? And make the habitation of thy righteousness prosperous. Though thy beginning was small, yet thy latter end should greatly increase. Now this part is correct. Verse 7 is correct of chapter 8. But remember, I'm saying that Job nor his friends knew the conversation Satan had with God. They knew nothing about the agreement that God had made with Satan to touch Job's flesh, or to take away his possessions, his children, destroy them, such and such. God permitted, he gave him permission, but I'm trying to draw or bring about something here, that when things happen to people, we don't know behind closed doors what have happened. If God gave permission, if God allowing it for a purpose, for a reason to give him glory, nobody knows. So since nobody knows, I think those who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles, and they shall walk and not faint. And the thing is, Job didn't know, nor his friends knew why these things took place. Is no error in Job and what he did. There is no error. God did it for his glory, for his purpose, to bring honor to his name. But they don't know. But they insinuating and accusing the guy now. So chapter 11, the other friend jumps in and says, then answered Zophar the Naamathite and said, should not the multitude of words be answered? So after Job responded and everything from the other, what the other person says, his other friend says, then the other one jump in and says, should not the multitude of words be answered? And should a man full of talk be justified? Should thy lies make men hold their peace? So he calling Job a liar now. And when thou mockest, shall no man make thee ashamed? For thou hast said, my doctrine is pure, and I am clean in thine eyes. But oh, that God would speak and open his lips against thee, and that he would show thee the secrets of wisdom, that they are double to that which is. Know therefore that God exacted of thee less than thine iniquity deserve. So this one telling him, hey, God punishing your brother, but he ain't punishing you that much for what you deserve. So the outside friends looking in and assuming that whatever is happening to Job is because of his sins. He have come short. There is iniquity that lied at Job's door. That's why these things happen. So this is us. There's a level of self-righteousness with us. When things happen, notice what the purpose for the friends coming. When you read chapter 2, the purpose of his friends coming was to comfort him and to mourn with him. But through the calamity, seeing what he was going through, they were overcome with it, by it. They were overcome with it. And now they started to assume, instead of really comfort him and sticking out with him, they spoke foolishly. Canst thou, by searching, find out God? This is what he's saying again. Can thou find out the Almighty unto perfection? It is as high as heaven. What can thou do? Deeper than hell. What can thou know? Verse 9, the measure thereof is longer than the earth and broader than the sea. If he cut off and shut up or gather together, then who can hinder him? Right? So it says, in the final analysis, Job did show to a point he was a bit proud. But his friends, who supposed to be his friends, provoked him. God stepped in the last few chapters and had to pull up his socks. But notice, after God corrected him, what he said. Notice what Job said after God corrected him. This is the last chapter in the book of Job. Chapter 42, it says, Then Job answered the Lord and said, I know that thou canst do everything. I know that you can do everything. That is what he's saying to God. And that no thought can be withholden from thee. Who is he that hideth counsel without knowledge? Therefore have I uttered that I understood not, things too wonderful for me which I knew not. Here I beseech thee, and I will speak. I will demand of thee, and declare thou unto me. I have heard of thee by the hearing of the ear, but now mine eyes see thee. Right. Wherefore I abhor myself, and repent in dust and ashes. And it was so, that after the Lord had spoken these words unto Job, the Lord said to Eliphaz the Temanite, My wrath, this is what God is telling his friends now, my wrath is kindled against thee, and against thy two friends, for ye have not spoken of me the thing that is right, as my servant Job had. Therefore take unto you now 7 bullocks and 7 rams, and go to my servant Job. So Job in the end had to offer sacrifice for his friends. If Job didn't do that, God wouldn't accept it. And offer for yourselves a burnt offering, and my servant Job shall pray for you. For him will I accept, lest I deal with you after your folly, in that ye have not spoken of me the thing which is right, like my servant Job. So Eliphaz the Temanite, and Bildad the Shushite, and Zophar the Naamathite went and did according as the Lord commanded them. The Lord also accepted Job, and the Lord turned the captivity of Job when he prayed for his friends. Also the Lord gave Job twice as much as he had before. Then came, listen, it says, and the Lord turned the captivity of Job when he prayed for his friends. Number 1. Also the Lord gave Job twice as much as he had before. So who gave him possessions? Who gave him riches? The Lord gave him riches and possessions. That is why when his children were killed and his possessions and his servants were killed, Job rent his mantle. He placed dust and ashes on his head. And he said, naked I came in this world, and naked I leave. He worshipped God, brethren, still in the midst everything that he went through. Right? It says, Then came there unto him all his brethren, and all his sisters, and all they that had been of his acquaintance before, and did eat bread with him in his house, and they bemoaned him and comforted him over all the evil that the Lord had brought upon him. Every man also gave him a piece of money, every one an earring of gold. So the Lord blessed the latter end of Job more than his beginning, for he had 14,000 sheep, and 6,000 camels, and 1,000 yoke of oxen, and 1,000 she asses. So he get double what he had. He had also 7 sons and 3 daughters. So he gave him back children again. And he called the name of the first Jemimah, and the name of the second Keziah, and the name of the third Karen Hapush. And in all the land were no woman found so fair as the daughters of Job, and their fathers gave them inheritance among their brethren. After this lived Job 140 years, and saw his sons and his sons' sons, even 4 generations. So Job died, being old and full of days. So, brethren, there are many lessons, many things to gather from the book of Job. It is indeed an end-time book. We should study it. Things are happening around us, trials, tribulations. The book of Job shares these sentiments and gives answers to what we are going through. Right? Brethren, notice that Job didn't know that Satan and God had that conversation. Notice that his friends didn't know either. So the first thing they came to do because they heard of him was to comfort him and to be born with him. That's what we ought to do. Instead of thinking when someone going through calamity or some sickness or something come upon them, if we know outrightly that the person is a lawbreaker, if we know they have broken the laws of health, you understand? Then we know. By their fruit you shall know. Right? And we should only pray for someone who willfully sin against God through his health laws. Because in breaking the natural laws, you break the 10 commandments. We should only offer petition to that person if we share the health laws with them and they purpose in their heart that they are going to follow the health laws and change their lifestyles. That's the only way we ought to offer petition for that person. We are counseled to do that. Right? But if we don't know, you have no clue why this person get a heart attack or fall ill or have cancer. Nothing they have done to break the health laws. Well then, who am I and who are you to judge and say this person did this because they sin, they deserve it, and all these things like Job's friend? No, brethren. We are just outsiders looking in. So all we can do is offer sympathy, empathy, be pitiful. And when someone is going through calamity, we mourn with them. We experience it just as like if it was happening to us. So brethren, I hope this study, these information would have touched you, whatever small way. It touched my heart while I was reading the book of Job over again. So much blessings, so much answers to so many questions. So until we meet again, I pray that you stay blessed.